artist, mostly known for Harley Quinn. He also has his own independent book that's taking off, going north, as we would say, past Canada and Santa. It's called Temerity. When's the next Temerity book coming out?
We're working on issue number 3. Hopefully it'll be sometime before summer.
And we do featured art prints. And what do you got featured today? You can throw it under here.
Yeah,
actually, you just hold it up. Who gives a shit?
Boba Fett.
Oh wow, that's cool.
The back card for Boba Fett. So if you're like me and you have all your toys from the 70s, you can slide this in and have your own case.
So what he's alluding to is we just launched a brand new line. It's called acrylic, cardback acrylic displays. And essentially you can pick your card back, and we have a plastic case, and there's a little pocket in there. And if you have your Boba Fett or your G.I. Joe or your Thundercats, it slides right in, and it gives you a little display case to put up on your shelf. So that's what he's got there. That's going to be his featured print. What's the story of the print?
It was a commission that I did for someone on my Art of Chad Harden Volume 3 campaign, crowdfunding campaign. Sent it out to the gentleman, and never got to him. His neighbor stole it off his porch. So anyway, but I scanned it before I sent it, and sent him another one out, and colored it up, and he did get a copy of the print and a replacement drawing. But this one actually turned out really, really nice, and so we painted it up, made it a print.
Did he have the neighbor beaten?
No.
But he's a big fan of yours, so why should he?
And also to let you know, it's official, Chad has had more appearances on the live show than the live show. So there we go. He is leading the charge there.
Twice as much.
That's
Twice
right.
as much. What? 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
When? What?
He was on the second episode.
Well,
And?
the normal episodes, the normal episodes are when I have classes. I also teach. I'm a professor of art at Utah Valley University. So
Okay.
And that's
it's hard to do a live stream and teach at the same time.
I said, hey, send one of your students as a proxy, but we're still working on the kinks.
Okay.
He's confused. We were calling you Vera for a while.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Beside Chad is a man who needs no introduction because we don't have that much time of him. It's New Mutants co-creator Bob McLeod, and he has brought a featured art print. We keep harping on this because he keeps forgetting that he did it. What's your featured art print today, Bob?
Long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I did the first issue of G.I. Joe, inking over Herb Trimpe. G.I. Joe toys came out after I was a kid, so I never had any G.I. Joe toys, but I did a lot of work on the G.I. Joe comic.
And here's the ironic thing. What's the one thing you hate to draw, Bob?
Weapons.
Tanks. Cobra agent.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Villains that have no aim. Bob hates all those things. So anyways, you have your opportunity to win one of those, and then besides
So
Bob,
what you're saying is Bob can be bought.
No, you can be Bob. We haven't got to you yet.
I can be rented.
Yeah, well, we leave you at the end because we know you take up the most airtime. All right, beside him, we've got Inker, Marvel, DC. We don't have enough time to list them all out, but Mustafa Musa, what have you brought today?
Let's see, what did I bring? Oh, I brought the 80s piece. Just all the stuff I grew up on as a kid. Back when we actually had toys that were fun to play with and cartoons attached to them. It's just really fun. And yeah, I love it.
This piece of art is so hot, it's literally walking away from
Oh
it.
yeah, somebody literally walked over yesterday. They looked at it and then they just took off.
Yeah, you'd think, hey, it's a big box like this. How hard would it be to steal? Apparently a lot easier than you think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, had a newborn baby and everything to like distract from the.
Yep, just put the newborn right on the box and walked away.
Really?
Oh,
my
I
gosh.
went like this, turned back, gone.
Oddly enough, just to be consistent, the baby was stolen too.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is possible. We are collectors. And besides Mustafa is, of course, a man who needs no introduction because he can do it on his own. Legendary inker and underrated painter. Everybody should check out his stuff. Mr. Joe Rubinstein.
I played both Lionels on the Jeffersons.
What's your featured art print? I realized that you didn't have a card back, so I actually just pulled one out of the stock. I think you already signed it too. Look at
Yeah, I
that.
did. Just now.
What's the story on that print, sir?
It's just Mike Deodato drew it. I wrote him and I said, you know, I love your stuff and let's do something together. And we did it. And now you got it.
And pretty soon one of you will get it. So Joe is known for Infinity War, Wolverine, #1 limited series. Just like Mustafa's list, we don't have that much time, so we'll just stop there. And beside Mr. Rubinstein, we have the creator of the Villainous Villain series, pop culture expert, and king of the Hawaiian sign, Jamie Coker. Mr. Coker, what do you have today?
My Villainous Villains Mumra card back.
Oh, wow.
So the reason why I call him the Villainous Villains is he came up with a concept, and his concept is, well, he originally wanted to do just Skeletor. And basically he did Skeletor just doing one of these old man. So I figured it needed a little bit jazzing. I said, what could we do? And he came up with the idea is, well, the only way the bad guys can beat the good guys is just by destroying the toys. So he started with Skeletor destroying a He-Man.
Yeah.
And that became Cobra Commander pulling the hell out of Duke's O-ring. And once we got up to Shredder.
That sounds so bad.
I know, but that's what it's called. It's called an O-ring. That's what it's called. Once we got the Shredder, it took off, and now what's your next one once you stop crying?
Oh, the next one is the Joker from Batman, the animated series.
So you want to describe it?
So it's the Joker is a guy who he's maniacal, crazy, and all that stuff. But I've always thought he probably has
writing this down. Wait.
he definitely has
I'll send you
this
the
love affair
video.
with Batman. So trying to embrace a little bit more of the cutesy side. So he's like pushing his cheeks up a little bit, but just happens that one of the hands has a bomb in it
Yeah.
with a Batman toy strapped to it, and in the other hand he's holding the match to light the fuse.
So let's put it this way. This man started, he was selling his originals for, what was it, 400 for Cobra Commander and Skeletor?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, how much are they going for now?
$650.
$650. So just like that, once he hit Shredder and things took off because the prints were so high, the amount he was able to get on his originals went up as well. So well done. All right, so this is where we turn it to you. All three of you. Everybody at the back, screw them, they can wait. Anybody here have any questions or anything?
What encouraged you guys to start doing comic books?
Oh, that's too long a question.
Too long?
All right, who wants to take that, Bob?
I actually was working at a grocery store as a teenager, and one of the other stock guys found out I could draw, and he said, "Oh, you got to work for Marvel Comics." And
And if he
had
told you
never-
to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge, would you?
I had never intended to work in comic books. I wanted to have my own newspaper comic strip, possibly, or work for Mad Magazine. But I thought I would go ahead and give Marvel a try, just as like a stepping stone onto something else. And, just kind of my career took off, so I stayed with it.
Can you tell us what else you hate to draw?
I hate to draw complicated costumes.
Basically comic books.
I like drawing comic books.
Long walks at the beach,
Oh,
soft white
gosh.
kisses.
Superheroes are not my favorite thing, actually. I mean, I enjoy superheroes, but I just basically like drawing figures and, westerns or sci-fi or fantasy, or there's so many different genres that I would enjoy drawing, and the whole field has kind of been dominated by superheroes for the last few decades. And they're fun.
You drew Star Wars with all those helmets and complicated crap.
It was a job.
Chad, you want to tackle that question?
Well, I just was a giant comic nerd growing up. I collected just about every, I think from 1983 up, I have just about every Marvel and DC book you can think of. Worked at a comic book store. Taught myself how to draw by looking at comics, which is what you're not supposed to do. And I had no idea how to break into the industry. I grew up working on a construction site. Just didn't know anything about art in general or anything until I went to college. And then I lucked out and had an art professor who was like, well, this is what you want to do. You're too talented not to do it. And so I started studying the foundations of art, anatomy, perspective, things like that, composition. And then I started to send my portfolios. I tried to send my art stuff through the mail to Marvel and DC ever since I was 16. But I didn't break in until I was 30. So it took me a long time. But a part of that was just, this is before the internet, okay? I really didn't know how to get my work in front of the right people. And so if you want to get your work in front of the right people, it's a lot easier today. You can post it on social media. You can post it on places like Webtoons and have people looking at your stuff. And they'll actually, if you're good enough, they'll know who you are. You'll show up on their radar, and then they approach you. So it's a lot different today than it was when I was trying to break in.
All right, that's a great question. So everybody's going to hold up their featured art print. You get to decide which one you want. Here we go. We got two Thundercats, Wonder Woman, 80s
Holy
mashup,
cow.
G.I. Joe, and Boba Fett. I think we have a theme. Which one do you want?
I'm
No
not gonna tell
pressure.
you. You pick.
Star Trek, sorry.
Don't worry, you're not going to hurt any of our feelings.
We'll take Wonder Woman then.
Wonder Woman. There you go. Good call. Well
Lovely,
done.
Mom. Thank you.
There you go, Joe. You're a winner. Well done. Here you
Oh,
go.
thank you. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have a question?
Would you like
It
that?
seems like, you guys, I don't know about each individual one of you, but it seems like there is a lot of interaction, like on Facebook, where people are asking about jam pieces and, or running commissions, and I really think that's cool. And, is that something that you guys enjoy doing, or is it something that, the way the internet has evolved, is it something that you guys enjoy, or do you wish it was like a little bit more old-fashioned?
You mean seeing other people's work on the internet?
No, I mean, the way the fan interaction has evolved.
Okay.
Mustafa, why don't you start that one?
Let's see. We used to be able to just, talk at shows or on the phone and stuff. So like being, there's a lot of guys I've never actually met in person that I've been able to become really good friends with over the internet, and I've had long careers with. So yeah, it's great. The internet's the worst thing and the best thing, right? Like it's the worst of society, but it's also like some of the best of society. Like there are family members I don't necessarily want to see regularly, but I can, keep in touch with them on the internet. So,
Is she mom?
and she's good. She's good. I've heard good things. These things are my social, interactions. Is going to cons and hanging out with, guys in person. But you can get a lot of networking done now without actually having to leave your house, which is awesome.
Jamie, what do you think about jam pieces?
About what? Oh, no.
Yeah, question.
Oh, okay. So, my situation is a lot different, just because I don't do like professional work for any of the comic companies or anything like that. If anything, I think my strategy towards getting my name out there has been like more, boots to the ground, get to the shows, meet people that way, and then follow up online, and like people have found me that way. Without social media and everything like that, the process, oh boy. I don't know that there would be a process for me besides just popping up at shows and hoping that people will find you. But the internet has definitely made it such that, someone from somebody reached out to me from Japan about something I drew, and it was just like, wow, they say the world is so much smaller with the internet in place, and I find that in my circumstance, it truly is.
Do you feel like it really helped with last year with COVID, since you guys couldn't go out to
Yeah.
the cons and stuff, like?
Oh yeah.
We didn't have a choice. Okay, so great question. Everybody, who's got left? So Joe's out. He's been eliminated. He's off the island. Which one do you want?
I'm gonna go with
Bob McLeod. Are we signed there, Mr. Bob? Yep. Awesome. There you go. Congratulations. Great piece. Thank you very much. All right. You're the odd man out. What's your question?
So I had seen a video where an artist was kind of drawing and talking, kind of like what you guys are doing. And I noticed he was doing pencil first, and just over and over and over again, he would just change the image until he got it the way he liked it. So I was kind of curious about your guys' process, because I've also saw videos where they have tips and tricks and how to get proportions right and that kind of stuff. So do you guys kind of follow that type of process where you have standard rules, or do you just kind of adjust it as you go? I mean,
we'll
what
ask
works for you
we'll
guys?
ask someone who's all about rules, Joe.
I don't draw comics, that's somebody else.
Chad.
Sure. Well, it really depends on the piece. But yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that unless you're Kim Jung-ji, I don't know if you've ever watched him.
Right.
You know, like I've never seen an artist like him where he'll literally just whip out an ink pen and then just do the finished art without any preliminary work or anything like that. But I would say most artists that I know, they start out with a pencil drawing, do some type of preliminary sketch, and what I'm trying to figure out in that preliminary sketch is composition, you know, size ratios, gesture, things like that. And then once I'm happy with the sketch, that's when I'll start laying in some thicker details, you know, thicker lines. Sometimes they're called construction lines, searching lines. And then once I'm happy with my pencil drawing, then I'll start inking. So yeah, that's generally the process in a 30-minute summation. Yeah.
Bob, you want to pitch in?
Yeah, when I'm drawing for myself to ink myself, I don't want to get the drawing too complete because then I'm basically doing it twice, once in pencil and once in ink. So I try to keep it pretty loose in the drawing, and what I do is basically draw ovals, placing shapes to decide where I want the arms and legs, or different, if I'm drawing a picture, where I want backgrounds, foregrounds, different things. So I'm thinking of a design first, where I'm putting things, composition, and then I just slowly develop the drawing to a stage where I know what I want, and then I do that in the inks.
When you're doing sequentials, Bob, do you plot the word balloons first?
Yeah, when you're working for a comic and there's going to be dialogue, you want to make sure. I was just reviewing a guy's portfolio at this show, a wonderful young artist, but he wasn't leaving no room for the writer to put in any balloons in anywhere. So I pointed that out to him and was trying to explain, you've got to consider them part of your composition. And if you'll look at a lot of comic panels, most of the things are happening down toward the bottom of the panel, and they're leaving space up there for dialogue. And if they're putting drawings up there, you try to put stuff that you don't mind if it's going to get covered up by a dialogue balloon. So you're always thinking how you're using your space. You've got this, I think of it like real estate, you've got a certain amount of space allotted to you to use, and where are you going to develop that space and where are you not going to develop it?
Yeah, cool.
So do you know in advance kind of how the page is going to be laid out?
Yeah,
for
generally
that?
you have a script, and the script gives you a little bit of a breakdown of the page. And but it's a really good idea. And if you ever, the website might look a little bit dated, but Todd Klein has a website where he basically walks you through like some of the things he's learned about inking, or sorry, lettering. And it's a wonderful resource. It's something I tell all my students to go check out, and then they can't get past the old, 90s design of the website, which is unfortunate. But there's so much. I mean, comics is such a unique art form, but really, that's one of the ways you can really distinguish someone who has worked in comics and who wants to work in comics. Is just their layout will complement the script, and it won't fight against it. And you can see sometimes with people who just don't even take in, the composition with the balloons. Because like Bob said, you'll look at their pages and you can just tell that they're not planning any space for where those word balloons are going to go. And sometimes there's a big, the dialogue can be really heavy dialogue. So you need to plan for where that's going to go on those panels. And it's a marriage too. It's writing and art. Comics are writing and art. So.
Yeah, I worked a lot from plots during my career rather than finished scripts, and the writer would basically give you the story, but I had to decide how many panels and exactly what I was going to do on that page. So a lot of times, this is not the way you should do it, but I would just start at the top and draw the first panel, then I'd draw the second panel and just work my way down and make it work. You should plan out the page as a whole. So if you've got an important panel, you're gonna save a certain amount of room for that panel or whatever. But I was usually under deadline pressure, and I didn't have time to spend a whole lot of time just thinking of various ways I could draw the page. I just started drawing.
Great question. All right, throw it up, you get one.
Looks like we got somebody else might ask.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get to that. We got an interloper. You got two Thundercats, we got the 80s mashup, and you have Boba Fett left.
Oh wow. I really love Mumra. Can I get
Can you
that?
sign it, Jamie?
Yep.
All right,
Sign
it's
it back.
signed. There you go. Well done.
Okay, thank you so much.
And as per usual, just like during the show on Wednesdays, Ariel Diaz cherry bombs. What was it? Photo bombs.
Cherry bomb.
Feels like a cherry bomb. So we got artist Ariel Diaz. She shows up randomly on our YouTube channel as well, dropping her own little tidbits of wisdom.
Any questions you want
Do
to
you have any questions back there?
Lurking.
So just per usual, she's lurking. We just could see her this time instead of being a figment of our virtual imagination. All right, so we've got 3 left. So here we go. We're gonna let you pick first, and then we're gonna wrap this up. We've got Lion King, we've got 80s mashup, and we've got Boba Fett.
I like 80s mash.
80s mashup. You signed this one, Mustafa? You gotta sign that one. There you go. And then you had the second question. So we're down to 2. We're gonna see if we can stay consistent. Of course. That means you're stuck with Lionel, buddy. I am 3 for 3 for paint.
They'll
and
pair up
glass.
great. Yeah,
Just
that's
like
awesome.
elementary school when we picked soccer teams.